A poor mechanic is accused of stealing a luxury car he was repairing. What the judge discovers about the real owner changes the entire courtroom. In a quiet corner of a busy city stood a small, dusty mechanic shop. It wasn't fancy. The walls were cracked, tools old, and the floor stained with oil. But to Daniel Brooks, it was everything. He was a simple man, a mechanic who believed in honesty, hard work, and dignity. Every day, he fixed other people's cars while his own shoes were worn and torn. He didn't have much, but he had pride in what he did. Until the day that pride was shattered by a car. A shiny black Mercedes rolled into Daniel's workshop one morning. Behind the wheel was Mr. William Crawford, a wealthy businessman known for his charm and arrogance. "Fix it before tomorrow," he barked, tossing the keys onto the counter. "It's worth more than your whole life, so don't scratch it." Daniel forced a polite smile. "Yes, sir, I'll take care of it." He worked through the night, changing the transmission, checking every detail. By morning, the car purred like new. But Crawford never came back. Not that day, not the next. 3 days later, Daniel was shocked to see police cars pull up outside his workshop. An officer stepped out and shouted, "Daniel Brooks, you're under arrest for grand theft auto." Daniel froze. That's impossible. The car's right there. I fixed it." But the officer shook his head. "It's gone, Daniel. The owner says you stole it." Days later, Daniel stood in court. His hands trembled. Across the room, Mr. Crawford sat, calm, smug, and confident. The prosecutor spoke coldly. "Your Honor, the defendant was found in possession of a stolen luxury vehicle valued at over $120,000. He admits the car was left in his care, but cannot explain how it vanished. The evidence points to one thing: theft." Judge Eleanor Hayes looked at Daniel carefully. A firm but fair woman, known for her ability to read hearts more than just words. "Mr. Brooks," she said softly, "how do you plead?" "Not guilty, Your Honor. I never stole that car." His lawyer, a young public defender, asked, "Daniel, tell the court what happened." He took a deep breath. "The man dropped his car at my shop. I fixed it. I called him 3 times to come pick it up. He never came. A week later, someone broke into the garage. The security camera outside was broken that night. When I came in the morning, the car was gone. I reported it, but no one believed me." Crawford smirked. "How convenient." The prosecutor stepped forward. "So you're saying someone just happened to steal this luxury car while you, a struggling mechanic, had the keys?" Daniel's voice cracked. "Yes, sir. I wouldn't steal. My father taught me better than that." The courtroom buzzed with doubt. Even Daniel's lawyer looked unsure. Judge Hayes observed quietly. There was something in Daniel's eyes, something that didn't match a thief's gaze. It was pain, but also truth. She couldn't shake the thought. Something felt wrong. Why would a man who fixed engines for 20 years suddenly steal one? She asked her clerk, "Pull up the insurance and registration records for Mr. Crawford's Mercedes." Minutes later, the report arrived. Her eyes widened. The car's ownership had changed hands 2 days before the alleged theft. The car was no longer registered under Mr. Crawford's name. It had been transferred to a shell company linked to himself, and the insurance had already been claimed. Judge Hayes leaned back slowly. Oh my God. He filed a fraudulent insurance claim. The next morning, court reconvened. Crawford sat confidently, expecting victory. Daniel looked exhausted, sleepless, defeated, ready for the worst. The judge's voice cut through the silence. "Before we continue, I'd like to ask Mr. Crawford a few questions." He nodded smugly. "Of course, Your Honor." "Mr. Crawford, she began. "Is it true that your Mercedes was insured for $120,000? Yes. And that you filed an insurance claim the day after it went missing?" He hesitated slightly. "Yes, that's correct." "And yet," the judge continued, her tone tightening, "you sold that same car through your own company 2 days before the alleged theft." The room gasped. Crawford's face went pale. I don't understand what you mean." Judge Hayes leaned forward. "Oh, I think you do. You tried to frame an innocent man to cover up your own insurance fraud." He stammered, "That's ridiculous." "Is it?" she said sharply. "Because I have the paperwork right here. Ownership records, insurance dates, and payment transfers." Crawford's lawyer stood up nervously. "Your Honor, we request a recess." "Denied," she snapped. "This court will not tolerate deceit." She turned toward Daniel. "Mr. Brooks, you are free to go." Daniel froze. For a second, he couldn't breathe. Then his knees gave way, and he wept quietly into his hands. Judge Hayes continued, her voice trembling slightly. "This case reminds us that appearances can deceive, that truth sometimes wears dirty overalls, while lies drive luxury cars." The courtroom applauded softly as the bailiffs led Crawford away in handcuffs. Daniel looked up at the judge through tears. "Thank you, Your Honor. I didn't think anyone would ever believe me." She smiled warmly. "The truth doesn't always shout, Mr. Brooks. Sometimes it just waits for someone to listen." Daniel's shop reopened, though business was still slow. One morning, a familiar car pulled up. Not a luxury one this time, but an old pickup. Judge Hayes stepped out, wearing a simple coat. "I hear you're the best mechanic in town," she said with a smile. Daniel grinned. "Not sure about the best, but I'm honest." She nodded approvingly. "That's exactly why I came." As he fixed her car, she looked around his small shop and said softly, "You know, Daniel, sometimes the world forgets that dignity doesn't come from wealth. It comes from integrity, and you never lost yours." He looked at her, eyes glistening. "Thank you, Judge. That means more than any money could ever." In the end, justice wasn't served by law alone. It was served by truth, patience, and one judge's refusal to stop listening. Because sometimes the real thief isn't the one on trial. It's the lie that tries to steal an innocent man's life. If this story touched your heart, let it remind you, integrity still matters, truth still wins, and kindness is never wasted. Like this video if you believe justice should see the human, not just the crime. Share your thoughts below. What does real justice mean to you? And subscribe for more emotional, true-to-life stories that remind us all that compassion is the greatest form of law.